The massive research vessel glided silently through the star-studded darkness, its sleek silver hull reflecting pinpricks of distant light. Inside the main observation deck, J. Park adjusted his translation device, his four-fingered hands moving with practiced precision. He was not like typical researchers from his planet. Curiosity burned within him like a constant flame, driving him to understand the most peculiar species in the known galaxy: humans. Captain Yoon Kim stood across the communication chamber, her posture rigid but her eyes betraying a hint of amusement. She knew this alien researcher had traveled billions of kilometers just to understand human behavior, particularly their intricate reproductive methods. The initial contact had been diplomatic, but Jay's questions were anything but traditional. So Jay began, his translation device converting his native language into clear, slightly mechanical English. Humans have a complex method of selecting mates that seems incredibly inefficient. Yoon raised an eyebrow. Inefficient. We call it dating. Jay's large, almond-shaped eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of intense processing among his species. Your species spends enormous energy on emotional negotiations before potential reproduction. My species simply select based on genetic compatibility algorithms. The human captain couldn't help but chuckle. We're not machines, Jay. Emotions matter. Jay pulled out a holographic pad where hundreds of human dating profiles were displayed. Swipe patterns, conversation screenshots, and relationship status changes were meticulously cataloged. To him, it looked like an intricate dance of unpredictability. Explain Tinder, he demanded, pointing at a screenshot. Humans select potential mates by swiping left or right based on visual appearance. This seems mathematically nonsensical. Yoon tried to suppress her laughter. It's complicated. Attraction isn't just about perfect genetics. It's about connection, humor, shared interests. The alien researcher furiously took notes. Shared interests. How could microscopic personality traits determine reproductive success? His species had perfected genetic matching centuries ago. Humans seemed to deliberately introduce chaos into their selection process. Do you mean, Jay asked, his voice rising with genuine confusion, that humans might choose a mate who is technically less genetically superior simply because they make each other laugh? Precisely, Yoon confirmed, enjoying the alien's bewilderment. Jay's research pad began generating complex mathematical equations, attempting to quantify human romantic behavior. Lines connected random data points, creating a web of complexity that looked more like abstract art than scientific analysis. The ship's communication systems hummed softly, occasional beeps indicating ongoing data transfers. Outside the large observation windows, distant planets and star clusters drifted by, silent witnesses to this extraordinary conversation about human reproduction. In my species, Jay explained, reproduction is a calculated process. We review genetic markers, conduct compatibility tests, and then proceed with reproduction protocols. He looked almost proud, as if this methodical approach was superior. Yoon smiled. And where's the romance in that? Romance. Another concept that seemed to baffle the alien researcher. His species knew about emotional bonding, but it was a controlled, measured experience. Humans appeared to dive into emotional connections with reckless abandon, treating love like an unpredictable adventure. I want to understand, Jay said, his voice a mixture of determination and genuine curiosity. Humans are statistically an incredibly successful species. Your reproductive methods, despite appearing chaotic, have allowed your civilization to thrive across multiple planetary environments. Captain Yoon realized in that moment that this wasn't just a research mission. For Jay, this was a profound attempt to understand the beautiful randomness of human existence. Well, she said, welcome to the messy, complicated world of human relationships. Jay's translation device converted her statement, and for a brief moment, the alien researcher felt something close to excitement. His next report would be revolutionary, a deep dive into the most complex reproductive strategy in the known universe. Little did he know, his journey of understanding had only just begun. The research facility buzzed with an unusual energy as Jay Park sat across from Dr. Hannah Lee, his latest human subject in the ongoing investigation of human reproductive behaviors. Stacks of digital tablets surrounded them, each filled with countless notes, screenshots, and bewildering human interaction records. So, Jay began, his alien fingers tapping nervously on the table. "Explain dating apps to me again." Hannah looked tired but amused. She had been selected as the primary human expert to help Jay understand the intricate world of human relationships. It's basically a way for people to meet potential partners through digital platforms. Jay's translation device whirred, processing her words. But why would intelligent beings trust random digital interactions to find a mate? The question hung in the air, highlighting the fundamental difference between alien and human approaches to relationships. Hannah pulled up several dating app profiles on the large holographic screen, showing Jay the complex world of human digital courtship. "See these profiles," she explained. "Humans create digital representations of themselves, hoping to attract potential partners through carefully selected photos and brief descriptions." Jay's eyes widened. He zoomed in on a profile featuring a human male holding a fish, looking proud. Why would this male display himself with a captured aquatic creature? Is this some form of hunting ritual to attract a mate? Hannah burst out laughing. "It's called a fishing photo. Some men think it shows they're outdoorsy and capable." The alien researcher furiously took notes. Each new piece of information seemed more confusing than the last. Humans appeared to have developed an incredibly complex system of mate selection that defied all logical scientific understanding. Throughout the day, Jay interviewed multiple human subjects. Each conversation revealed new layers of complexity. He learned about pickup lines, first date strategies, and the mysterious concept of ghosting, where one potential partner suddenly stops communication without explanation. "In my species," Jay explained to Hannah, "communication failure would trigger an immediate genetic compatibility review and replacement protocol." Hannah just smiled. "Humans are messier. We have emotions, complicated feelings." During one particularly interesting interview, Jay discovered the concept of texting games, where humans deliberately delay responses to appear less interested. This concept completely shattered his understanding of direct communication. "You mean," he asked, his translator struggling to convey his confusion, "humans intentionally create communication barriers to appear more attractive?" "Exactly," Hannah confirmed. The research facility became Jay's temporary home. Wall screens displayed complex relationship flowcharts, each diagram more complicated than the last. Alien colleagues watching the research feed were equally perplexed by human romantic behaviors. Jay's lead researcher, Sung Choi, watched the data streams with growing fascination. "These humans are either incredibly inefficient or incredibly brilliant," he muttered. The most challenging aspect for Jay was understanding emotional nuance. Humans didn't just select partners based on genetic compatibility or logical reasoning. They chose partners based on laughter, shared interests, emotional connection, and countless intangible factors. One afternoon, during a particularly intense research session, Jay discovered the concept of chemistry, that unexplainable connection between potential partners. "It cannot be measured," he asked Hannah, hoping for a scientific explanation. "Not really," she responded. "Sometimes people just click." The alien researcher's brain struggled to process this information. In his species, everything was calculated, measured, and precisely determined. Humans introduced an element of beautiful unpredictability into their reproductive strategies. As days turned into weeks, Jay's research transformed from a clinical study to a profound exploration of human emotional complexity. Each interview, each observed interaction added another layer to his understanding. "Humans are not just a species," he wrote in his personal notes. "They are walking, talking emotional universes." The research continued, with Jay becoming more fascinated and more confused with each passing day. His mission to understand human reproduction had become something far more significant, a journey into the heart of human emotional experience. Little did he know, his greatest discoveries were yet to come. The alien research facility trembled with suppressed excitement as Jay Park prepared to implement his most daring experiment yet, applying human dating strategies to his own species' social interactions. His assistant, Sung Choi, looked increasingly nervous. "I have studied human methods extensively," Jay announced, adjusting his translation device. "Now I will test these strategies in real-world scenarios." His first attempt involved what humans called pickup lines. Standing in the central communication hub of the research station, Jay approached a female researcher named Aria. He had practiced this moment carefully. "Do you believe in love at first quantum frequency?" he asked, trying to sound confident. Aria stared at him, her three eyes blinking in complete confusion. The other alien researchers stopped their work, watching the bizarre interaction unfold. Sung whispered, "This is not how our species communicates potential partnership." Undeterred, Jay pulled out a holographic image of himself holding a scientific instrument, mimicking the human fishing photo strategy. He thought this might demonstrate his capabilities as a potential mate. The other researchers exchanged bewildered glances. Showing off scientific equipment was standard professional behavior, not a romantic gesture. Jay's next experiment involved playing hard to get, a human strategy of appearing less interested to become more attractive. He began deliberately delaying his communication responses and avoiding direct eye contact during research meetings. His team became increasingly concerned. Was their lead researcher experiencing a technological malfunction? "I am implementing human courtship protocols," Jay explained when questioned. "Humans create communication barriers to appear more desirable." Sung pulled him aside. "Our species values direct communication. These human strategies make no logical sense." Undaunted, Jay downloaded multiple dating app interfaces and began creating profiles that mimicked human behavioral patterns. He included cryptic statements like "adventure seeker" and "looking for something real," phrases that meant absolutely nothing in his native communication system. His alien dating profile was a masterpiece of misunderstanding. Profile picture: Jay holding a complex scientific instrument. Interests: quantum research, interspecies communication, understanding human reproduction. When no potential matches appeared, Jay became frustrated. He didn't understand that his profile read more like a professional research announcement than a romantic invitation. The experiment escalated when he attempted human flirting techniques. During a scientific conference, he tried making what humans called jokes, complex linguistic constructions designed to create emotional connection through humor. "Why did the quantum particle cross the research station?" he asked a group of senior researchers. "To prove its wave-particle duality." Silence filled the room. Humor, it seemed, was not translating well across species. Sung watched in a mixture of horror and fascination. Jay was systematically destroying every professional reputation he had carefully built over years of scientific research. The most disastrous moment came during a formal diplomatic meeting. Jay attempted what humans called negging, a questionable strategy of giving subtle insults to appear more attractive. "Your research methodology seems mathematically challenged," he told a senior colleague, believing this would create romantic tension. The result was immediate and catastrophic. The colleague filed an official complaint, and Jay found himself facing a review board. "These are human courtship strategies," he defended himself. "I am conducting important cross-species research." The review board was not impressed. They saw a promising researcher implementing illogical and potentially offensive communication protocols. Sung, acting as Jay's professional advocate, tried to explain. He is attempting to understand human romantic interactions through direct implementation. As punishment, Jay was assigned to basic communication research, far away from any potential diplomatic interactions. His dreams of understanding human reproduction seemed temporarily crushed. But Jay was not defeated. Each failure was simply another data point in his complex research. Humans, he realized, had an incredible ability to transform apparent failures into learning experiences. Humans would call this a learning opportunity, he told Sung, his eyes sparkling with continued curiosity. The experiment had failed, but Jay's journey of understanding was just beginning. The diplomatic chamber hummed with tension as Captain Yoon Kim and the alien research delegation faced off. Judd Park stood at the center, his research tablet clutched tightly, surrounded by increasingly uncomfortable alien and human representatives. Your recent research methods, Captain Kim began carefully, have created some challenges. Jay blinked rapidly. His previous experimental attempts at understanding human reproduction had somehow triggered a potential interstellar diplomatic incident. The Alien Research Council looked simultaneously horrified and fascinated. During his earlier experiments, Jay had inadvertently applied human dating strategies to several diplomatic communication channels. What humans considered playful banter, his species interpreted as serious communication protocols. Multiple misunderstandings had emerged, creating a complex web of potential conflicts. I was merely conducting research, Jay defended, his translation device converting his native language into slightly mechanical English. The incident that triggered the diplomatic review involved Jay sending pickup lines through official communication channels. What he believed were clever human interaction strategies appeared to the receiving diplomatic team as bizarre, potentially threatening messages. One particularly unfortunate message read, "Are you a quantum particle? Because I'm feeling undefined attraction toward your communication frequency." Senior diplomats exchanged uncomfortable glances. This was not standard communication protocol. Sung Choi, Jay's assistant, attempted to provide context. He is trying to understand human social interactions, he explained, his voice steady but concerned. The human representative struggled between wanting to laugh and maintaining diplomatic composure. Jay had essentially transformed official communication channels into an unintentional cross-species dating experiment. Our communication protocols are precise, Jay explained. Humans introduce fascinating levels of emotional complexity that defy traditional logical frameworks. Captain Kim pinched the bridge of her nose, explaining to an alien research team that their lead researcher had been sending flirtatious messages through official channels was not something they covered in diplomatic training. The Alien Research Council demanded a full report. Ja enthusiastically presented his findings, complete with complex diagrams showing human romantic interaction patterns. The presentation looked more like an abstract art piece than a scientific document. Humans create emotional connections through seemingly random communication strategies, Jay explained. They use humor, indirect communication, and complex emotional negotiations. His slides included screenshots of dating app conversations, text message exchanges, and relationship status updates. To the aliens, it looked like an incomprehensible communication system designed to maximize complexity. These are not efficient communication methods, one senior alien researcher commented. Precisely, Jay responded. And yet, humans are one of the most successful species in the known galaxy. The diplomatic tension began to shift. What initially seemed like a potential communication crisis was transforming into a fascinating research opportunity. Captain Kim realized that Jay's genuine curiosity and complete lack of malicious intent were actually breaking down communication barriers. His awkward attempts were revealing more about human social interactions than years of traditional diplomatic exchanges. "We need to understand each other," Jay said, his voice filled with genuine enthusiasm. "Not just communicate, but truly comprehend." The room fell silent. His statement, despite its awkward delivery, carried profound meaning. Sung watched carefully, knowing his colleague was walking a fine line between diplomatic incident and breakthrough research. Jay had a remarkable ability to transform potential disasters into learning opportunities. As the meeting concluded, an unexpected outcome emerged. The Alien Research Council requested more information about human social interactions. Jay's bizarre research had actually generated genuine scientific interest. "Continue your research," the senior researcher told Jay. But please, use proper communication channels. Jay nodded, his four-fingered hand already preparing his next research proposal. He saw not a diplomatic challenge, but an incredible opportunity to understand the beautiful complexity of human connections. Outside the diplomatic chamber, stars continued their silent dance, witnessing another small step in cross-species understanding. The research facility buzzed with anticipation as Judd Park prepared to present his final report on human reproductive and social interactions. Years of study, countless interviews, and multiple diplomatic incidents had led to this moment. Dr. Hannah Lee sat in the front row, a mixture of pride and amusement dancing in her eyes. She had been Jay's primary human guide throughout this incredible journey of discovery. Jay's holographic presentation flickered to life, revealing a complex tapestry of human relationship dynamics. What once looked like chaos now appeared as an intricate system of emotional intelligence. Humans are not illogical, Jay began, his voice steady. They are emotionally sophisticated beyond any known species in the galaxy. The Alien Research Council leaned forward. Jay's report promised to be something extraordinary. His presentation revealed how human reproduction was far more than a biological process. It was a complex dance of emotional connection, personal growth, and mutual understanding. The diagrams showed layers of interaction that went beyond simple genetic compatibility. Humans select partners based on multiple dimensions, Jay explained. Emotional resonance, shared experiences, mutual growth, and something they call chemistry, an unexplainable connection that defies traditional scientific measurement. The research team was captivated. Jai had transformed from a confused alien researcher into a profound interpreter of human social complexity. His report highlighted how human relationships involved continuous negotiation, emotional support, and personal transformation. Unlike his species' calculated approach, humans approached reproduction as a journey of mutual discovery. Sung Choi, Jay's assistant, watched with pride. The research that had once seemed like a potential diplomatic disaster was now being celebrated as a breakthrough in cross-species understanding. The most surprising element was Jay's personal transformation. The rigid, calculation-driven researcher had developed a deep appreciation for human emotional complexity. He no longer saw human interactions as inefficient, but as a sophisticated form of connection. Love is not a weakness, Jay stated, but the most advanced form of species cooperation discovered in the known universe. Captain Yoon Kim, who had been skeptical of Jay's initial research, now sat with tears in her eyes. The alien had captured the essence of human emotional experience more accurately than most human researchers could. The research paper included everything from dating app strategies to long-term relationship dynamics. Jai had documented human courtship rituals, emotional communication patterns, and the incredible resilience of human connections. Humans reproduce not just to continue their species, Jay explained, but to create meaningful connections that transform both individuals. The Alien Research Council was stunned. What had begun as a clinical study of human reproductive methods had become a profound philosophical exploration of emotional intelligence. Hannah approached Jai after the presentation. "You've done something incredible," she said. "You've helped us understand ourselves." Jay's final recommendation was revolutionary. He suggested that other species could learn from human emotional complexity. The ability to connect, grow, and support each other beyond biological imperatives. The research facility erupted in applause. Jai had not just completed a research project. He had bridged an understanding between two fundamentally different species. Sung noticed how Jay had changed. The researcher who once saw relationships as mathematical equations now understood them as living, breathing experiences of mutual growth. Humans are not perfect, Jay concluded in his report, but their ability to love, to connect, to support each other through emotional complexity is perhaps the most advanced survival strategy in the known universe. The report was immediately classified as a landmark study in cynosociological research. Universities across multiple planetary systems requested copies. Jai had become more than a researcher. He was now a bridge between species. As the presentation concluded, Jay looked out the window at the vast starscape. His journey of understanding human reproduction had taught him something far more important: the universal language of connection. The stars seemed to twinkle in agreement, witnesses to a discovery that would change interspecies understanding forever.